If there's one thing I can confirm as a setting for pure misery and despair, it's winter. Winter is such a melancholy way to end the year, especially if you live up north. I mean, not 4 months ago were you wearing shorts and going swimming with your friends, and now you're digging trenches in 4 foot of snow like it's the Western Front. For those of you who haven't seen snow, you're lucky. It's a lot less Gene Autry and a lot more snow blindness and sliding cars and a lot more large traffic accidents. The older you are, the more you despise the snow.
Today I'm going to be talking about Dead of Winter. It's a game that can be just as stressful as real winter, but at least it's still fun, and it doesn't cost as much as snow tires, so...
Dead of Winter is a story-centric co-opetitive game about surviving the zombie apocalypse in winter. You are part of a colony where everyone has secret motives. Some motives are pretty harmless. Some have a more questionable intent. And there's even a chance that there might be a traitor to the entire colony. Through all of this, you also have a main goal you have to accomplish.
There is a lot of things working against you in this game. The one that you're probably going to get the most familiar with is this here. This is called the exposure die.
Every time you move from one location to another, every time you kill a zombie, and even on some crossroad encounters, you have to roll the exposure die. Every time you roll this die, you have a 1/4 chance of getting wounded, a 1 in 6 chance of getting frostbite, and a 1 in 12 chance of being bitten and dying immediately.
So odds are your characters are either going to go out like Herschel Green or Jack Torrance. Either way, doesn't turn out really well for you. But one thing that a lot of people, especially me, have been wondering about this is how the hell do you get frostbite that easy? Well, let me show you.
When you're dressed like this, or this, or this, I'd say it's pretty dang easy. I mean, this better be some kind of nuclear winter out in Kansas or something, because up here we have winter coats, gloves, winter boots, snow pants, beards, hats, and enough layers to make your body mass half flesh, half teddy bear. I mean, why even wear body armor against zombies when you can just wear an 8-inch thick barrier of cotton, nylon, and polyester?
Either way, you're not getting frostbite. It's not happening. You fool. Fool.
The second thing working against you is the waste pile. Whenever you use a card, or after cards have been used for the crisis, it goes in the waste pile. If you have more than 10 cards in your waste pile, you start to lose morale. So what you need to do is do some spring cleaning and use bad dice rolls to clean up 3 wastes at a time. I guess I'm not really sure why having a clustered house makes a loss of morale. I'll put it more as you don't know where your car keys are, and now you have to spend a die looking for them. I mean, it makes more sense from a challenge standpoint, but I've seen some people pretty happy about the pig pen that they live in.
Now, why is this game subtitled a Crossroads game?
It uses a system of story-based random encounters. The person to your right takes a card from the deck, and if the event described were to trigger at any point, the game stops and you have to make a decision based on random occurrences. These could be anything, from having a certain character at a certain place to simply yawning at the game table. Decisions will be made about letting new survivors into your camp, looting event-exclusive locations, and some of these choices get really dark. I mean, I remember one about, it was cannibalism, and then there was another one about dumpster babies. So if you're playing with small children, they do have sensor signs on some of the cards, so you can pull them out and so you can play with younger kids. If you do so, it does take away some of the exclusive encounters you get for playing certain characters. So there's a little give and take there.
And while we're on the subject of characters, I would just like to stop for a moment and talk about the artistic direction of this game. I would just like to say that despite the zombie apocalypse, I wouldn't mind living in this town.
I mean, look at some of these people. I mean, you have the librarian here, who despite the zombie apocalypse, still has her hair on point. You have Sexy Mayor, who's a 20-30-something who was elected by what looks like equally sexy townsfolk, like the sexy lumberjack, the sexy construction worker, sexy teacher, sexy fireman, and sexy accountant. Yeah! I mean, there must be something in the water that makes you unusually attractive or a redneck. Seriously, how much eyeliner and powder is on these characters' faces? You would imagine that they would also have to be foraging for makeup as well as food. I would totally buy the foraging for makeup expansion for this game. I can imagine that having so much makeup raises morale, but also adds more to the waste pile. I feel like it would better fit the scenario for this game. I mean, there's some pretty fruity picks in this cast of characters. There's a ninja and a pirate, because every town has one of those. There's Drunk Mall Santa. Actually, every town does have one of those. But then there's the dog. Sparky the stunt dog. Sparky the frickin' stunt dog. Okay, so the rules dictate that your characters can equip weapons and books to help improve them. This also includes the dog. So you can have a dog running around the town with a shotgun, a switchblade, and a jazzercise book, shooting up anything that looks at him funny. Which you can do, considering that the dog also doesn't die from rolling a bite mark on an exposure die. There's been so much love-hate for this one character. This is such a serious game, but some of the characters, it's like one moment you're watching 28 Days Later, and then it immediately switches over to Planet Terror just like halfway through. And your brain is just trying to fathom what kind of emotion this game is trying to set. I mean, if you look at your game board, there's a pirate running off to fight zombies, while a dog with Uzi strapped to him is searching the grocery store for medication.
Like I may have mentioned before, a lot of things. There's a lot of mechanics all working at once against you in this game. You have the dice rolls, the exposure dice, the crossroad cards. You have all the different actions you have to take. You have foraging for food, handling the crisis deck, all the different motives, the waste pile. These mechanics, they all work, but it feels like you're on some sort of freight train and the cars are just kind of bumping into each other and pushing the entire game along as it goes. And whenever I get this feeling, I also get the feeling that I'm not playing the game right, or maybe it's the game group that I play with. Either way, I wouldn't really suggest this as like a gateway game to beginner board game enthusiasts, so that's something to be careful about.
So I guess the big question is this game a crit or a miss? Considering everything, I give this game a hearty 16 out of 20. This game is pretty fun. It's very aesthetically pleasing. The shortcomings are, I would say, the gameplay. It's very fun, very interesting ideas, but like I said before, I personally didn't find it very fluid. Time efficiency on it is very nice. I like the fact that you can play games in either short or long increments. It's really nice to have a game that you can play that's flexible. Endings don't always end up satisfying because of, once again, that dice component. I've had games that ended in just 2 or 3 rounds, and it's all because of dice roll based issues. Everyone will just end up getting bitten and just dying off, and that's the end of the game. I felt very invested in my game time when I was playing with other people. I can't say the same about a lot of other people that I played with, but once again, that's a game group issue and not so much the game itself, I believe. Rulebook, I love that it's easy to read. Some things are a little bit difficult, but I've certainly read harder rule books than this one. In terms of piece structure, I originally had this at a 17, but I've been noticing that some of the stands for the characters has been chipping away the cardboard of the characters. So I had to take away that. I would be very careful with that. At least leave your stands on the characters and bag them as such. Don't constantly remove the clips from each other. Players are often very much interacting and determining what each other's motives are, so there's lots of player involvement. But overall, is Dead of Winter for you? You will like this game if you like bluffing and deception in your zombie game. If you enjoy a loose form story to go along with your board game. If you like games that have scenarios that can expand the limit of the game time. If you're okay with games where the challenge is based on the survival-based card draws and dice rolls. And also, if you have a preference for co-op games. Some things I say people should be wary of. Game mechanics can feel a bit sticky. Longer gameplay times are not for everyone. Do not expect this to be a zombie thriller. Zombies are part of the backdrop. The main event is the player interaction. And while the game is oftentimes serious, some of the characters and cards pull you out of that theme.
Hi there. Thanks for watching this. This is kind of some last minute updating things that I had to do because the truth of the matter is this entire episode took way longer than I wanted it to. So I'd like to do this a little bit more regularly for you guys and, well, of course for myself. So if you guys could give me some feedback, that'd be super awesome. Yeah, just tell me what worked, what didn't work, what you'd like to see more of, and let's try to streamline this process a little bit more so it doesn't take as long as it did for me to do this. Also, I'd also not like to be obnoxious about this because other channels tend to be, but this is my first episode, so if you could subscribe, it'd be super cool. Share it around, appreciate it. And aside from that, thanks for watching. You guys are cool. Yeah.